Find the equation of a line through 0, 5 and parallel to 6x minus 7y equals 10, and then the same thing perpendicular. So I'm starting off with a pretty easy one here, relatively speaking. Let's see, how would we go about this? Remember what George Polya would tell us. What do we know about parallel lines? We know that two lines are parallel if they have the same slope. Can we find the slope of this line? Once we have that, we'll use that slope, since parallel lines have the same slope, with this point, and we'll write the equation of the line. And then we have an extra step for the perpendicular. So how do we find the slope of this line? We'll take 6x minus 7y and solve it for y. We'll put it into y equals mx plus b form. Subtract 6x. Negative 7y equals negative 6x plus 10. Divide by negative 7. So we'll have 6 over 7x minus 10 over 7. So now we know the parallel slopes are the same, will be 6/7. Now a lot of students will take this and then they take the point 0, 5 and they want to plug that in for x and y in the equation y equals mx plus b. But if you think about it, 0, 5 is the y-intercept. So the only thing we would have to do on here is just plug it in. 6 over 7 times x plus 5. And I'll show that idea of what I was just talking about in a little bit when we should use it. The perpendicular slope is opposite in sign and then flip the fraction. And at this point we can just write the equation down. Negative 7 over 6x plus 5 again, because it's going through there. Now there's many different forms for the equations of a line. We have the standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. Now when we do this, a, b, and c are integers. And what does an integer mean? It doesn't have any fraction in it, no decimals, whole numbers, positive or negative. And the standard way to do it is to make a positive. And so we'll follow that as well. Slope-intercept form, that's our y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. Try to think about this one, the point slope. See if you can remember that one. You've been exposed to it, but a lot of students don't like to use it. This one is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1, where x1 comma y1 is our point and m is our slope. And I'm going to show you this last one just because it is x over a plus y over b equals 1. Now I'm going to show it to you, and that being said, I don't use it, but it is in the book. A is the x-intercept and b is the y-intercept. If the book were consistent, this would be along the lines of how you dealt with conics, your hyperbolas and circles last year. Now, if you were given a choice, slope-intercept of all these, which one would you pick? Overwhelmingly, students pick the slope-intercept form. What I want you to do is stop doing that. The only time I want you to use the slope-intercept form is when it's given to you, for example, in the information lends itself to it in problem number 1. But otherwise, what I want you to do is point slope form. So for your homework, make sure you are using point slope form. If you want to multiply it out, you can put it into the form that's in the back of the book. Let's take a look at using it. We have find the equation of the line through negative 2, 1, and 6, 5. So the first thing we're going to need to do is find the slope. We'll have m equals y2 minus y1. Now we don't need to write y2 minus y1. We can just start plugging it in. Either one of these 2 points can be the x2, y2. I'm going to choose this second one since those are both positive. So 5 minus 1 over 6 minus negative 2. So that's 4 over 8, which is 1/2. Now we're going to use the point slope form. Remember what that one is? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now which one is our point? Again, we could use either one of those. It doesn't matter. So our equation could be y minus y1. Let's say I'm going to use this. And I'm going to show every little step for this particular part. Y minus negative 2 equals 1/2 times the quantity of x minus, oh, I blew that. I put in the x value there. Y minus 1 equals 1/2 the quantity of x minus x2. We can write y minus 1 equals 1/2 x plus 2. Or y minus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 6. You do not need to simplify this. As far as this problem goes, it's done. What does this tell us? This tells us the slope, and it tells us a point on it. When we look at y equals mx plus b, what does that tell us? That tells us the slope, and it tells us a point. That y-intercept is just a special point with x value being 0. But this gives us the same line, and we don't have to actually calculate what that y-intercept is. Let's take a look at the next one. We have a x-intercept of 3. That point would be 3, 0. The y-intercept would be 0, 4. So let's find the slope. 4 minus 0 over 0 minus 3, we get negative 4/3. Now in this situation, we know what the y-intercept is. So we can use that form, negative 4/3 x plus 4. You don't need to plug it into the point x, y into y equals mx plus b because it's already given to you like that.